All right, welcome to another deep dive. You ready to supercharge that everyday English?
Oh, absolutely. Let's get into it.
Today we're going way beyond textbook English.
That's right. Think real, natural conversations. Like the stuff native speakers use without even thinking about it.
It's those phrases, those expressions
Mhm.
that can make you sound like you've been speaking English forever.
Totally. And it's interesting how much fluency actually comes down to mastering those little phrases.
It's true, like those everyday things you hear all the time.
They're like the secret handshake of fluent conversation.
Right, like you're at work, right? And someone offers you the last cup of coffee.
Okay.
And instead of just saying, "Can I have that?" which, let's be honest, can sound a little bit, abrupt.
Yeah, a bit direct, maybe.
Yeah. What if you said, "Mind if I grab the last one?"
Oh, that's so much smoother.
It's so much more polite.
It shows you understand the whole, unspoken rules of the workplace.
It does. You're not just taking the last coffee. You're acknowledging that someone else might want it.
Exactly. And that little difference can go a long way in making you sound more fluent.
Okay, now let's say you're super late for a meeting. I know I've been there. Always rushing.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Instead of just a simple, "I'm late."
Which, yeah, gets the point across, but
It's a bit flat, isn't it?
it is. You could say something like, I've got a dash, or let's get a move on.
Ooh, I like those. They add a sense of urgency.
Right? It's like you're sharing the rush with everyone else.
And speaking of busy, 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 have you noticed how often people say back-to-back meetings or "I'm up to my ears in work"?
All the time. It's become the standard office vocabulary, hasn't it?
It really has. It's almost like a bonding experience, like we're all in this together.
Totally. It's a shared experience of busyness.
And sometimes those meetings, well, let's just say they get a bit complicated.
Oh, yeah. I know those meetings.
And you want to sound polite, but you also need to, understand what's going on.
For sure. So instead of getting flustered, what could we say?
Well, if it's just not making sense, you could say, "I'm not quite following."
Perfect. Polite, but direct.
And if you need a little more information, could you elaborate on that?
Excellent. It shows that you're engaged, but you need a little more clarification.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. What about those times when you bump into someone unexpectedly?
Ah, yes, those chance encounters.
I always feel like hello is just so basic.
It can be a bit plain, yeah.
Yeah.
How about something like, nice to bump into you?
Oh, I like that.
It's warm, it's friendly, it's perfect for those unexpected run-ins.
It acknowledges the surprise. Okay, I'm going to use that one for sure.
And, you can always follow it up with a, what have you been up to?
A classic. It's a casual way to kick off a conversation.
And it shows that you're genuinely interested in what they've been doing.
It's amazing how just changing a few words can make such a difference.
Isn't it? It's all about those small tweaks to really sound natural.
It's like these little phrases are the building blocks of natural English.
They are. They unlock fluency, they boost your confidence, and they help you navigate those everyday conversations with ease.
I love that. Okay, we've covered some great phrases for everyday chit-chat, but how about when you need to, make a graceful exit?
The art of the graceful exit, it's essential.
Instead of just saying goodbye, which feels a bit, I don't know, sudden,
It can be a little abrupt, yeah.
what could we say instead?
Try this. There's so much to say, but I can't go into it now.
Ooh, that's clever.
It implies that you're interested, but you have other things you need to attend to.
It leaves the door open for future conversations.
Exactly. You're not closing the conversation off completely.
I am loving these. We've covered the basics, but I'm ready to dive into some more advanced vocabulary now.
Okay. You want to expand that word bank.
I do. What are some tips for going beyond those everyday phrases?
Let's step it up a notch. How about we explore some higher level vocabulary and those tricky grammar nuances?
Okay, I'm ready.
You've probably heard of phrasal verbs, right?
Oh, yes. I've definitely come across them.
They're tricky, but mastering them really adds a whole other layer of depth to your English.
I agree. They sound so natural, but sometimes they just throw me off.
I know what you mean. Like, the words individually make sense, but together they create a whole new meaning.
It's like a secret code, like to turn down.
Exactly. You can turn down the volume, but you can also turn down an offer.
Right. The context changes everything.
It does. So how can we get better at understanding these phrasal verbs?
They feel so essential, but I get a little intimidated by them.
Well, one way is to learn them through stories and examples.
Oh, okay. I think I learn best that way.
Instead of just memorizing lists, visualize the verb in action. Imagine it.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So picture this. You have two friends, we'll call them Sarah and James. Sarah and James, they're going through a bit of a rough patch.
Oh, no, a rough patch.
Yeah, their relationship is starting to fall apart.
Fall apart. So it's not like they're literally.
No, not literally falling apart.
Okay, good.
It's metaphorical. Their relationship is deteriorating.
Like a puzzle falling apart.
Exactly. It's a great way to think about it.
So what happens next? Their friends are worried, right?
Yeah, of course. So naturally, their friends try to help them make up.
Okay, so make up, meaning
To reconcile, to resolve their differences.
to get back together.
Exactly. And notice how it's that phrasal verb make up that conveys that whole idea.
It's so much more than just saying reconcile. It's like you feel the action.
Right. You get a sense of the process.
So do Sarah and James, do they manage to make up?
Well, that's the thing. They try to come up with a solution,
Oh, come up with, meaning.
to brainstorm, to devise a plan, to find a way forward.
But it's not easy, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
They're really struggling to find that common ground.
I feel like this is getting intense.
It is. Time goes by, weeks turn into months, and they just can't seem to move on.
Move on, you mean?
Let go of the past, embrace the future.
Oh, another phrasal verb. It's like they're stuck.
They are. They're holding on to the hurt, the resentment.
I'm hooked on this story. What happens to Sarah and James?
Well, wouldn't be much of a story without a twist, right? One day, Sarah bumps into James at a coffee shop.
Oh, wow. A chance encounter.
Yeah, and at first they try to brush each other off.
Brush each other off. What does that mean?
They pretend they don't see each other.
To avoid any awkwardness.
Exactly. To protect themselves from more hurt.
Oh, the drama. Okay, what happens next? Do they talk?
Well, something changes. They make eye contact, and there's this flicker of recognition.
I can picture it.
They decide to sit down, and they start to open up to each other.
Open up, meaning?
To share their feelings, their vulnerabilities.
Oh, wow. That's a big step.
It is. And as they talk, they realize that time has helped. Their anger has softened.
That's good.
They start to remember the good times, and a sense of gratitude starts to grow on them.
Grow on them. Like a plant.
Sort of. It's like a feeling that gradually develops, increases over time.
So are they going to get back together?
I don't want to spoil the ending, but you know what this story shows us?
What's that?
The power of phrasal verbs. They add so much emotion, so much nuance to everyday English.
It's true. They make the story come alive.
And using them in your own conversations can make you sound so much more natural.
I'm convinced. Okay, so we've covered some great phrases, some powerful verbs. What else can we explore to boost our English?
You want to get even more advanced?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's dive into some of the, shall we say, fun quirks of the language.
Fun quirks. I like the sound of that.
Okay. Have you ever heard of rhyming reduplication?
Rhyming what now?
Rhyming reduplication. It's a fascinating phenomenon, trust me.
Okay, you've got my attention.
It's where we use two words that usually rhyme to create a new expression.
Ooh, okay. Give me an example.
Think of holy moly, nitty-gritty, or even higgledy-piggledy.
Oh, I love those. They're so expressive, so catchy.
Right, and each one paints such a vivid picture.
Holy moly, like wow. Nitty-gritty, getting down to business.
And higgledy-piggledy is just wonderfully chaotic.
It's like a verbal cartoon. I never realized these were part of a bigger linguistic thing.
They are. It's a subtle tool. But even native speakers use it all the time without realizing it.
It's like a secret code embedded in the language.
And it's not just for informal phrases, you find it everywhere.
Really? Give me some more examples.
Think about flip-flop, wishy-washy, even teeny-weeny.
Wow, you're right. I use those all the time. But I never thought about their structure.
It's fascinating, isn't it? There's so much to discover about language.
It's like a whole new world has opened up.
And that's the beauty of learning a language. There's always something new to find.
So what are some of your favorite examples of this rhyming reduplication?
Good question.
What comes to mind?
I've always loved super duper.
Oh, super duper. It's so enthusiastic.
It is. And how about mishmash?
Mishmash is a good one. Perfect for describing, well, a mishmash of things.
Exactly. It's amazing how these word combinations create such specific meanings and images.
I'm seeing language in a whole new light now. It's not just about rules and lists. It's about playing with words.
It is. It's about experimenting, having fun with sounds, and expressing yourself in new ways.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far. We've covered so much, from everyday phrases to phrasal verbs, and now this rhyming reduplication.
And the journey doesn't stop here. Remember, language is alive. It's constantly evolving and adapting.
That's so true.
So keep exploring, keep learning. The more you delve into the depths of language, the more fluent and confident you'll become.
I feel like I've got a whole new set of tools now.
And remember, it's not just about the tools, it's about using them.
I'm ready to put them into practice.
Excellent. And most importantly, have fun with it.
Language learning should be enjoyable, shouldn't it?
Absolutely. It's a journey of discovery and self-expression.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of everyday English.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm still thinking about those simple phrases. Like, who knew there was so much depth to "mind if I grab the last one"? It's not just about the coffee.
It's about showing you understand those little social cues. And those subtleties, well, they can make a real difference.
And the phrasal verbs. They're everywhere. It's like I've unlocked a secret level of fluency.
That's the thing with phrasal verbs. The more you see them, the more you hear them, the easier they get.
We'll start listening for them everywhere. In movies, songs, even just everyday conversations.
Exactly. That's the best way to learn. It's all about that practice, that immersion.
You know, I used to think grammar was all about rules and memorization. But this deep dive, it's changed my whole perspective.
It's not just about the rules. It's about how we use language to connect, to express ourselves.
It's like I've been given this amazing toolbox filled with all these tools, and now I can't wait to use them.
That's the spirit. And remember, language is a journey. It's about exploration, about trying new things.
And most importantly, it's about having fun with it.
Absolutely. Because when you enjoy the process, well, that's when the magic really happens.
Oh, this has been an incredible deep dive. From those everyday phrases to those fascinating phrasal verbs and even the fun quirks of rhyming reduplication.
We've covered a lot, but this is just the beginning of your language journey. There's always more to explore, more to learn.
I feel so inspired to keep practicing and keep pushing myself to sound more and more natural in English.
And as you continue on that journey, remember what we talked about today, those little phrases, those powerful verbs. They're your keys to fluency.
I won't forget it. Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive into the world of everyday English.
It's been a pleasure. Happy learning, everyone.
Until next time, keep those conversations flowing.